Hi everyone, welcome to week 7. It's really hard to believe that we've almost reached the halfway point in the semester. We are really moving quite along. As you can see on your screen, I have the course schedule, and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and enlarge the screen. As you can see on the schedule, we're in week 7 where we're going to begin our 2-week exploration of cognitive development. In this week's mini lecturette, I'm going to talk about 2 upcoming assignments that are due. This week, at the end of Module 7, your research paper outline is due, and at the end of week 9, Module 9, the first cognitive development observation is due. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes giving you some brief information that should be helpful to you as you prepare for these 2 assignments. We'll start with the research paper outline. Here I have pulled up a copy of the research paper outline and rubric. I'm certainly not going to read this entire document to you, although it's not very lengthy. I would expect that you would look over it very carefully in detail. As you will see, week 7 is where this is due, and the outline is worth 10 points. For the content of your outline, it's listed here, and it clearly states that this outline format should be used, and we're going to go over it. When you begin writing your outline for your research paper, what I am looking for from you is just sort of ideas that you are beginning to put together for the content of your paper on your selected topic. You should be spending some time now during each week looking for some resources that you will use in your paper. The guidelines for the research paper state that you need to use at least 10 separate peer-reviewed sources for your paper, and so you should be starting that process of looking at those. While at this point in the semester I don't expect that you will have read 10 or more articles, but you should be in the stage of searching for those, looking at abstracts to see if you need to save an article for future reading as we prepare the next steps of the research paper. So going back to the outline, there are 4 main sections of the outline. Section number 1, Understanding Multiple Influences on Development and Learning, has 3 subsections. Section 2, Understanding Development Characteristics and Needs, has 2 subsections. Section 3, Building Family and Community Relationships, has 2 subsections. And then finally, the 4th section of the outline for the paper is Teaching and Learning, which has 2 subsections. I'm going to show you quickly an example of an outline that has been turned in that should help you as you prepare your outline. You can go ahead at this stage and work on a title page for your research paper. That way you will have had that out of the way. If you wanted to download this example that is in Canvas, you could actually use it as a template. You will notice that there is an APA formatted running head to begin with, and then the title of your paper, your name, and then this other required information. Down on the beginning of the next page, you will just see in outline format just some basic information under each section and subsection of the outline template that is provided. So section number 1, again, Understanding Multiple Influences on Development and Learning. I do expect at this stage that you are using these headings and subheadings as provided in the guidelines. The first subheading asks you to define the particular disability or disorder that you are reporting on. So here, this one is autism spectrum disorder. You don't have to put definition, you can just put it. The second subsection has to do with background and description. The third subsection, causes and prevalence. And then finally, the fourth subsection, the scope and purpose of the paper. As you can see in the example that I've provided, right now you are just giving a basic 1 or 2 sentence idea of the information that you are going to cover in your paper. Once again, I do expect you to use headings and subheadings. And the next thing I want to talk about is your references. While you are expected to have at least 10 separate peer-reviewed sources, at this point in the process, I am not going to check your in-text citations to your references list. Your references list, you can just start developing, and we'll look at it in just a second, the one in this example. You can just start developing your list, and then you can pair it or add to it as you actually go through the articles that you're reading to select which ones that you're going to use. But if you do use an in-text citation, you should include a full citation in your references list. So I'm just going to briefly scan through the rest of this example. Section 2, Understanding Development Characteristics and Needs. Section 3, Building Family and Community Relationships. And Section 4, Teaching and Learning. As you will see in the guidelines, your outline should be a 1 to 2 page double-spaced outline. That does not include your title page or your references list. So your outline at this point should not be longer than 2 pages. We'll go back to the example. As you will see in this example, starting at the top of this page, scrolling down to the bottom, this outline is just about 2 pages in length. The next page begins the references list. And this, as you could see in the outline, there weren't very many in-text citations, but the cumulative or the comprehensive references list that this particular student began to collect information is put here at the end. You will see the Hooper and Umansky citation here in the references list. So at this point, again, I am not going to be looking to be sure that every in-text or parenthetical citation is included in the, let me take that back. I will be looking to be sure that every in-text citation is in your references list, but I will not be looking at the references list to check to be sure that you use the source in the outline at this point. So this final outline has 5 pages, 2 pages of outline, 1 title page, 2 pages of a building references list. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Before we move away from this, I'm going to go back to the outline paper, outline guidelines and rubric, and then I'm going to, I'll make it a little smaller so we may be able to see it all, look at the rubric. So as you can see, the rubric is very brief. The assignment is worth 10 points. 2 points will be given if you submit your outline by the due date, 0 points if it's after the due date. For the outline format, does the submission follow the outline provided in these guidelines? 2 points if it fully does, 1 point if it mostly does, and 0 points if you do not follow the provided outline. As far as content, you can earn up to 2 points for clearly addressing the topic in each outline area, 1 point for addressing the topic with minor variations from the outline, and 0 points if you do not address the topic and outline headings. For spelling and grammar, you can earn up to 2 points for not having any spelling and grammatical errors, and for references and APA formatting, again, you can also earn up to 2 points for proper APA formatting of in-text citations and your references list. For those of you who are not familiar yet, the APA recently published an updated version of the APA manual. We are no longer in the 6th edition. We are currently in the 7th edition. Not too many major changes. If you were using APA appropriately before, you should probably still be doing a pretty good job of that. And if there are any errors, I will provide feedback to you so that you can take a look at those. Anyway, that's just a brief overview of the research paper outline. Again, that outline is due at the end of this module, week 7. The next item that I want to talk to you about briefly, let me look at my time. I made a little bit of an error a while ago when I was looking for how much time I had left, and I stopped the recording, so I'm going to try and pick back up where I think I left off in talking about the cognitive development observation. Looking quickly, I only have a few minutes left, looking quickly at our schedule, you will see that cognitive development observation 1 is due at the end of week 9. And then if you scroll down onto the second page, you will see that cognitive development observation 2 is due at the end of week 11. Going back to the guidelines, you will see in the guidelines that the first statement says, observe and assess 2 children, 1 child from 2 of the following age groups. And you will see 3 age groups, 9 to 24 months, 3 to 5 years, and 6 to 8 years. So cognitive development observation will be the observation and assessment of 1 child that's either between the ages of 9 to 24 months, 3 to 5 years, or 6 to 8 years. Cognitive development observation 2 will be another observation and assessment of a child in one of the 2 remaining age groups. So if for your first cognitive development observation you observed and assessed a child who was 18 months old, for cognitive development observation 2 you would select a child that is either 3 to 5 years old or 6 to 8 years old. So you will do the same assignment 2 times with 2 children from different age groups, and you have 3 age groups there. The other thing that I want to mention to you at this point before I run out of time on this recording is that you need to go ahead and start planning on working on this assignment. You need some to give some forethought to the children that you're going to work with. You don't want to wait until the last minute, and it's your responsibility to identify children to work with. And here in the very first paragraph, it gives some ideas. Children of friends, co-workers, neighbors, relatives, church members, or children in your classroom. The only children that are off limits to you for this assignment are your own children or children that you are related to. Otherwise, it's open for any children that parents will allow. The children that you work with do not have to be identified with a disability. The purpose of the assignment is to observe and assess them based on what you've learned about cognitive development over the next 2 weeks to see if they are developing typically or atypically. I think I'm just about out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and wind this video up. We will come back to this and I'll address it a little more in depth in next week's video lecturette. I hope you have a great week.